Hi, and welcome back to the show. We're here with Janet Olson. How you doing, Janet?
I'm fine, thank you.
That's great. Now, Janet actually started Natalie's House. Am I saying that correctly?
Yes.
Okay. And Natalie's House is a safe haven for girls 11 to 17
Yes.
that have been sexually abused, is it?
Sexually
Or
exploited, sexually abused,
and abused.
traumatized.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Well, Janet, go ahead and tell us your story.
Oh, okay. Well, I first started working on this issue of sexual exploitation back in about 2001. I was very concerned about reports of boys and girls down in Mexico being victimized by Americans coming from Arizona or perhaps coming through Arizona. And I wanted to make a difference, and so I started working on trying to get people aware of the situation down at the border. And of course, what everybody kept saying to me is, you know, Janet, there's girls right here in the Phoenix area and beyond that don't have a safe place to be, and they're getting hurt. And they were right. And in 2002, I went to Children of the Night and saw their home. I asked them every question imaginable. I had a lot of questions I wanted answered, and I came back convinced that we really needed a home here in Arizona for these girls. And so I finally got up the guts to ask our board in 2004 if we could build a house.
Nice.
And of course, they were kind of skeptical at first. It was like, well, Janet, normally, you grow your organization and you get your 501c3 and all these things, and then you take on a major project like that.
Right.
But my enthusiasm couldn't be dampened, and I did get
good.
their permission, and we started working on this project. And at first it was just a dream. I was out there saying, oh, we're going to build this home, and it's going to be so wonderful for these girls. They'll ride horses, and they'll be safe there and happy. And so finally, we did get our permits, and we did get some land. We have an acre of ground, and we started building. And it's been a long journey for us.
Right.
But the house was completed last year. We have our DS licensing. And we're hoping to get girls very, very soon. We're hoping to get our first contract possibly as soon as next week.
Right. So Children of the Night, is that your organization you work for? Is that some organization to kind of shed light on what's happening here in Arizona?
I went to Children of the Night because at that time there was just 2 organizations in the United States that were working on this issue of sexual exploitation of girls specifically, providing a safe haven for kids. They were providing a home there in California, and kids were being brought there from all over the United States. But of course, we wanted a home right here in Arizona for our kids.
So the Children of the Night, they had a place for homes or for children, but they are coming from everywhere.
Yes.
And you got to interview some of these kids, or just people that were So what did you see? Like, I first of all, I want to say this is that I am a father. I have 5 beautiful daughters, and one thing that I always try to do is I feel like I want to empower them. Because when I had girls, a lot of people, oh, you got girls, didn't you want a boy? They always ask me that. And really, I tell them, well, I kind of didn't want kids in the first place, but, they're a blessing and I love them. So, I feel like whatever God gave me, I'm happy with, and they're a pleasure. But I also feel like with all the issues going on, and with women not feeling equal to men, and men exploiting women, and with rape, and you want to be overprotective of your child, but you really want to empower them to know that they're worth more than what they think or what they see.
Absolutely.
So, and I feel like that's a big issue, and it's kind of hard because I'm like, well, most fathers with their sons, they're like, push them out there, and with their girls, they hold them in, and I was like, well, if I'm going to empower them, should I push them out like I would do a son, as far as, give them a chance to gain their own ground and be their own person. And I try to do that with my daughters through trying to get them involved in school and stuff like that. And I just want to know, is there kind of like a common theme that you've seen among these children when you talk to them, and if you want to share some of the stories that you might have heard?
Well, I guess the most common theme is that all of them were vulnerable at some point.
Okay.
And these people are ready and looking for a girl that's vulnerable. Maybe she's having a problem with self-esteem at that time. Maybe she's not getting along in the family right at that moment. If a girl is running away, she's very vulnerable out there on the streets.
Right.
There are people just waiting for girls like that.
Right.
But they can even be approached in a mall type setting. So again, or on the internet, there are people just getting on the internet, trying to
Right.
find people that they can lure into something.
Okay. And I was just checking on my computer, and I was looking at some facts, and it says 50% of runaways and homeless youth engage in survival sex. Is that, you know, what's the common theme? And when you say like the kind of people that's exploiting them, I know that my mother told me this, that a lot of women that may be molested or raped, a lot of them are molested by people that they know that are you know, maybe members of the family.
Yes. Well, one thing about that statistic, it's as many as 50%. It could be less. It is a statistic, so we don't know the exact amount. But we do know that when kids are out there and they're homeless on the streets, whether they're runaways or throwaways, they're very vulnerable. You're not talking about kids that are trying to make $1 million. You're talking about kids that are maybe having to cut a deal just to have a place to sleep for the night, for a meal. And so they really do need our help. As far as child sex abuse, yes, a lot of those cases are cases where they know their perpetrator. It could be a family member, somebody who's a close friend, somebody that other people will trust because of their position in the family or in wherever they're at, in the school or whatever.
Okay. Now, Janet, I know that, you know, this subject is very serious, you know, but I want to really shed some light, because what you're doing is shedding light on such a dark subject. And I want you to talk about some of the wonderful things that you'll be providing for these girls in your house. Because when we talked, it was very exciting. And I was like, wow, I want to live there.
Yes, we're very excited about what we'll be providing for these kids, because they really need some extra help. They've been traumatized. They've been hurt. Their self-esteem is just crushed many times. And so when they get it to Natalie's house, we've tried to make every portion of it something special for them. Every room spells out, you are special. Nice. And the bedrooms are designed sort of like a bed and breakfast. You go in there and there's all these little things. There'll be stuffed animals, pet pillows, dolls in there, so that their eyes will kind of like brighten up when they first see it, and it'll tell them, hey, you're special. And we have a desert tortoise, Addie, will be there to greet them. Yes. And we have an internal classroom setting for them. We have it set up so that they'll be doing horseback riding at least twice a week.
Okay.
And we feel that they're probably going to have some very strong bonds with those horses. And horses are great because horses accept you exactly for who you are at that moment. They don't care where you've been, what's happened to you. They'll immediately respond to you, and those girls need to experience that. And awesome. That unconditional acceptance that they can get from those horses. And we'll have it also set up. We have therapeutic gardens for them, and we have a greenhouse. And we have a deal with a local nursery so that they can come and do the seedlings, the koala feeds, and other things. So each girl will get her own pot in the greenhouse that she'll be responsible for. Each girl will have her own little garden plot, and she can grow whatever she wants in that. And so she'll have that enjoyment and be able to really experience success. And the girls will have meetings each week to actually discuss, how are we going to do this greenhouse? What are we going to plant? Who's going to do what? So that we can make sure that we've got the produce we need to eat here at Natalie's house.
Right. And that is very empowering.
It's very empowering, and it'll get them talking to each other and sharing and teaching. And again, that's going to be helping them to feel very, very special being there.
And then you also have kind of counselors maybe that come through and talk with them about the issues and things that they've been through.
Absolutely.
And do they talk with each other about that too as well, or just one-on-one?
Southwest Behavioral Health Services will actually send counselors in. They'll give them individual counseling. They'll have family counseling. They'll have group counseling together. And a big part of their therapy is actually just talking to each other, just even being at the dinner table. A lot of the kids that we will get at Natalie's house are kids that just got hurt because they really didn't have a safe place to be. They were out there.
Right.
And so they need to experience Home 101. You can't experience that through a course. You can't learn it in a juvie system.
Right.
You've got to be sitting at a big table like the one at Natalie's house and just have your own place at the table and have people that really care about you sitting at that table to share with you. And they'll all have had common experiences with each other. So long after we're out of the picture, they may be calling each other up and just talking on the phone, giving each other support.
Right. That's amazing. Because I know, as far as the laws, if they're engaging in survival sex, okay, it will be considered or prostitution. So as a teenager, if they get caught doing that, is the first place they go is like a juvenile hall or a juvenile like jail type facility.
Well, I think that here in Arizona, as in other states, we're seeing these kids as victims now rather than criminals. And so they really do want to offer them a safe place to be. And that is, again, why we have places like Natalies House being opened up around the country, is so that they can recover rather than be prosecuted. They are too young to consent to their own abuse.
Right. Definitely, I agree. And so let's say somebody's trying to help maybe a child like this. Maybe they know, maybe some of our listeners know of a child that's probably being abused like this. It's not like Natalie's House can take individuals. Like, how does that work? How do you get your girls?
It'll depend on our contracts that we get. Okay. We're trying for contracts with the Indian community. We'll hope for contracts with DES. We're also hoping to get some funding so that we can just take kids that are off the streets that maybe want to sign themselves in, and their parents will agree to allow them to come in. Okay. And so that'll kind of determine how we get them. For many of these kids, the way they will be discovered is through law enforcement.
Right.
And again, we're very lucky in the state of Arizona. The police in Phoenix are well known throughout the country because they are leading this effort against victimization of these girls.
That is awesome. I think what you're doing is wonderful.
Thanks.
So for people that want to donate, they're listening to this show, there's like, wow, what she's doing is amazing. How can we keep that going? How can we donate to you to possibly get kids in off the street? Because otherwise, if you have to get just contract kids, then that's kind of coming from the state. But if maybe even more locally, you maybe be able to help more kids if you're getting funding. So how can somebody just donate, an individual just donate to you, to Natalie's House?
It's very easy. They can go right to our website. We have it all set up. It's www.protectchild.org, and they can make a donation right online, or they can mail in a donation. The address is 14175 West Indian School Road, Suite B4-184, Goodyear, Arizona, 85395, and that is the mailing address. It is not the address where the kids are at. Of course, Definitely. It is a safe house.
Wow, what you're doing is, I'm so impressed, and I really do you have and I know that these kids have been hurt, and do you have like a program to where I know other girls can come and maybe be a mentor to these girls, or maybe show them some love? Is that something that you can do? I know it's a safe haven, and it's kind of like protecting them from people that could possibly want to harm them. So, I mean, is there something like that? Like maybe somebody says, you know what, maybe I don't have the money to donate, but I would love to just, I'm a woman, maybe I could, reach out to you and possibly talk to these girls. Is that something that's possible?
We will have some volunteers in the home because of the confidentiality issues. We won't have a lot of them, but they can contact us at the office, 623-247-6026 if they're interested in volunteering. Of course, they'll have to go through background checks. They'll have to have fingerprint clearance. But absolutely, we do need some volunteers. We also need people to actually work there. So I would definitely recommend that people who are interested in working with this kind of girl apply for a job at Natalie's House.
Okay, that's awesome. And so, as I know you just gave us an address, to where people can go to donate and your website. What about maybe letters that they, encouraging letters they can write? Would you say recommend that they send them to that same address as well as the donation?
That would be incredible if we had some letters for the kids. I've never even thought about that before.
You see, I'm doing something right over here.
I think it would be wonderful if they read a letter that was just for them.
Well, because, and what I'm thinking is, I would love for my daughters to write them letters if they couldn't immediately volunteer, and other girls out there who care. I mean, we are a community, and here at Everybody Has a Story, that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to build a sense of community. We're trying to profile people and artists and different things that wouldn't normally be profiled. Okay? Nobody's going to come and... We know what the problems are. We see what people talk about politically. We see that, we hear a lot of talk about, a war on women, in politics and taking away their choices and all of these things that's going on. And it's kind of like you are combating that, in your own way. You're out there. You're not just talking about it. You're doing something about it. And I think that's amazing. Okay. And so, even to that, do you guys stay up on current events with them and stuff like that?
Absolutely. And I'd just like to add that it's not just me. The whole community has been involved with this. I mean, we built this home for these girls from scratch. It's the only home in the whole United States that was built for these girls to meet their needs from scratch. And hundreds of people have been involved in this effort. We've had Boy Scouts out there making a special jogging walking trail for them and planting some grass that the desert tortoise is now eating. Addie is enjoying that. And we've got Girl Scouts in Goodyear have gathered up some Girl Scout cookies for our girls, and they'll be donating those. And we have Boy Scouts coming out tomorrow to the home, and they're going to be working on building the water fountain for the girls. It's a therapeutic water fountain. It's going to be beautiful. It'll have some cascading water. It'll be recycled, so it'll have this very calming sound to it, and they'll be able to just sit by it and maybe do some homework or just take some time to think and reflect.
So, how did you come up, or as far as the plan of the home? Is that something that you had a big, because you're saying you got waterfalls, you got, I'm thinking I want to call you whenever I'm ready to build a house. I want, a similar setup. So.
Again, we've been so lucky. We've had so many volunteers involved with that. Jim Moffitt started the plans. He's the one that designed the house originally. And then we needed more help to get through all of the grading and drainage requirements, the building permit requirements, etc. And so Smith Group got involved in that as well and started working on that. And so
Smith Group?
It's another architectural type firm.
Shout out to Smith Group. They're doing good works out there.
Okay. But yeah, we're very thankful for all the people that have been involved. We had volunteers doing every part of it, from the architectural drawings to the grading and drainage. They had to look at the environmental survey and do that. We had people doing surveys at the home. Mechanical drawings had to be done. I mean, you're talking about a lot of work when you do something like this. This isn't just a house.
Right.
It has special requirements that have to be there, everything from exit signs on the doors to other special requirements. But we've still tried as much as possible to make it feel like a home.
Well, Janet, what I would like for you to do is look into the camera in case there's some young ladies that maybe are going through this and maybe listening, and just maybe give some words of encouragement or something that you want to say to them, just anything that you would like to, final words that you would like to say.
I just want to say to them that they're beautiful and there is help out there, and they are worthy of that help. They are worthy of being someplace like Natalie's House. They are worthy of having big dreams and having them come true. And so just hang in there, and absolutely, we would love to work with you at Natalie's House.
Janet, thank you very much for doing the interview. What you're saying is just what, empowering women is great. And I just want to thank you for coming on the show. And thanks to all the volunteers that had anything to do with Natalie's House. I know it takes a village. We just want to thank you here at Everybody Has a Story. And we're out.